Yeah.
What would you say on one foot are the, like, let's say, top 3 things you learned from yoga
Wow.
or that you get from yoga?
Well, yoga means integration, and I feel like it's an integration of my avodas Hashem into my daily life through my body, through my movements, with intentional breath to movement, that like unification.
Okay, so by the way, I think I'm gonna ask you this question and then go from there. Because what I'm discovering, honestly, is that I actually think that the like top things of what yoga brings to our life is exactly what the sukkah brings to our life. So, because the first thing is spot on, we're integrating all the things that we prayed about during Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Now it's integration time. And then breath, like you said in your thing, it's breath. And then what would you say is a third thing that you take that yoga means? And maybe this is what I'll ask the chicks.
It's like showering love on yourself. It's like the ultimate self-care of giving, like unrolling your mat is like such an act of love to myself. And I feel like the sukkah is that space of unconditional showering of love.
Right. It's like it's matching up quite nicely.
I love that.
Okay, cool. So, and then I think what I'll do is I think after we flow, I'll ask everybody, because let's say there's 10 women, it won't take up too much.
There's 3 women that just came. Welcome, everyone.
Oh, they're on now?
Just 3 women popped up right now.
Oh, hi, 3 women.
Welcome. Oh. Hi, 3 women.
Hi, Susie.
Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
Susie. We're just chatting.
And Anja.
Welcome.
Is it Anja or Anya?
It's Anya.
Cool. You got a J. Did you do that just so you could be like Jenna? Because I would do that. I would change my name to Nilli.
Hi, Lexi. Welcome, Lexi. Wow, people are on time. This is amazing. Everyone get comfortable. Make sure you have water. Unroll your mats. If you have a bolster and a yoga block, or if not, that's okay. A rolled up blanket is perfect.
Hi, Lexi.
So as people are trickling in, because I know we have some people that are entering slowly. Welcome, welcome. I feel like this transition time is really interesting, how we relate to our bodies after a fast. After we've transcended our bodies, we're now in this process of re-entering our vessels with a renewed sense of soul information that we received. And it's a great reminder that our bodies, they don't define us, they just house us. And now that we're coming back, we have this sense of separateness, but then integration, where we're able to just dwell inside ourselves and find a reintegration. As people are trickling in, we're gonna have an amazing opening story from Nilli, but I just read like 10 minutes ago, a really amazing excerpt from The Body Keeps the Score. Has anyone read that book before? Body Keeps the Score. So he's referring to a place, coming from a place of trauma. And you know, when we have trauma and we kind of disregard our bodies in a certain way, and there's something that's locked and cannot be accessed. So he's coming at this from inhabiting the body after a sense of trauma. But my view, coming from Yom Kippur, is really recultivating integration of self from that transcendent space into an integrative space. So, and he's talking about using yoga as a means to re-inhabit the body. So he says it like this: as we begin to re-experience a visceral reconnection with the needs of our body, there is a brand new capacity to warmly love the self. We experience a new quality of authenticity in our caring, which redirects our attention to our health, our diets, our energy, our time management. This enhanced care for the self arises spontaneously and naturally, not as a result of a should. We're able to experience an immediate and intrinsic pleasure in self-care. So I feel like this is the essence of reintegrating now into our bodies. How does everyone feel after a fast? Like, what was your experience fasting with your body? Like a sense of frustration or annoyance, or was it like purifying, cleansing? You can just type a word in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself.
I find that when I'm fasting, when you're not fasting, you can kind of be like a slave to like the food before us, or, like the earthly things that we're doing on a day-to-day basis. And then during the fast, you see that like we're not like subservient to these things, and we really can rise above those needs. So it helps you kind of, reconsider what you're reaching for, like what you're drawn to do. So that was the experience for me.
I love that. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else? What's your experience with the fast and coming back into your body?
I felt like the fast because I felt like it gets you in like this trippy state by the end of the day, which is kind of like where you want to be at the end of Yom Kippur. And that to me is like really powerful. And also personally, I've just been pregnant and nursing. And so to like not give sustenance for like everything I do with my body is for my baby. And so to like take a rest from that is also super powerful. And to be in my body and not in my body, it just was like a really powerful experience for me.
Thank you for sharing. And one of the reasons I'm asking is because Yom Kippur and Sukkot is actually very connected. We learned that one of the prime rituals of Yom Kippur, which is the incense ceremony, the vapor that came from the incense on Yom Kippur actually creates the schach, the covering of the sukkah. So our avoda of Yom Kippur is actually felt and experienced, and we reap the benefits of it on Sukkot. Now we take it from the pneumius into the makif, into like a full embrace, and we get to experience all of the benefits and the joy that came from our hard work on Yom Kippur. So I'm going to hand it over to Nilli. If you guys have not yet met Nilli, where is she? There she. I'm gonna pin you. Pin you. Yes. Woohoo. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Remove pin. Okay, there's Nilli. Yay. So Nilli's a huge inspiration to me, and Torah teacher that has lit up my darkest days. We've all had those times of loneliness and darkness, and Nilli's teachings always warmed me up and brought me life. And I was just telling her before this meet, I was like so depleted from, this is our first Tishrei in Israel, and my head's been spinning and we've been running, and it's like, it's so exciting, but I'm like gasping for air, and like, I just need to see Nilli, and her uplifting energy will raise my vibration, and I'm sure you guys will feel it also. I'm gonna just ask everyone to mute themselves if you're not muted. We're gonna do a little story and intro, and then we're gonna start moving on our mat and we'll do some more teachings and sharing. And feel free to take notes. And if you have any questions, write it in the chat box, or we'll get to it at the end. So.
Hey, sisters. Okay, just going to check our names because I really like to connect. So it's Anya and Amanda and Lexi and Susie and Sophie and the mysterious Abigail Sapir. And of course, Chana Natina herself. Do you know that Jenna's tricking you? She's calling herself Jenna, but it's really Chana Natina. I gave it away. Secrets. Okay, so hey, y'all. I'm currently coming to you from Los Angeles. I've had the privilege of living in Israel for the last 14 years, but I'm here on a little hiatus. It's not a hiatus at all. I'm here just because I'm supposed to be here right now with the Lord. And so also I just telling you who I am because I feel chutzpahdik to just show up and start sharing. But on a really funny note, Jenna, you're like, oh, my teachings are awesome. And like when I give classes, I say to everybody thinking I'm so funny, oh my gosh, isn't my content amazing? And some people are like, well, that's a little, why would you say that? And it's like, because it's not my content, it's Torah. The Torah is so amazing, you know? So like I show up, I'm like, I have the best content. And people are like, what? I'm like, it was a joke. Do you not get it? Like, I actually have the best content. It's Torah. Okay. Anyways, it's morning here and I just had a coffee. So there's that. And apparently the light of the Lord is shining upon me. So that's, can you guys see it? Cool. So I have the little drum and I think it would be really good if we just started off with a little song. And the little song, the words are Harachaman, the merciful one, who yakim lanu, that he should reestablish for us, et Sukkot David hanofalet, the fallen sukkah of King David. And the reason that I think this song is so applicable is because like Jenna Natina was sharing, it's exhausting. It's totally exhausting, these high holidays. And that's okay, because the whole idea is a righteous person falls and gets up and falls and gets up and falls and gets up and falls and gets up. Not a loser, not a lame person, not someone pathetic, not someone ungrounded or unfounded or who doesn't have their stuff together. The righteous person, the righteous woman falls and gets up and falls and gets up. And that's why we're about to sit in these sukkahs. I'm actually sitting in my parents' sukkah that I'm helping them build. And the idea of the song and the idea of what Jenna was talking about is like, it's okay. It's okay that we fall. We just try to just get back up. And I think that's pretty much like the essence of yoga too, right? At least when I do yoga, it's all about the falling. That moment where I'm trying to look really good in my half moon for all the yogis around me. And then I like fall on my face. It's okay. We just get back up. All right, little song. Am I connecting to you guys? Because I can't tell through my little screen. Amanda, how we doing? Yes. Okay. So it's just, if you know the words, please sing with me. If you don't know the words, just, you could do bum ba bum or la la la. Harachamanu yakim lanu et Sukkot David hanofalet. Harachamanu yakim lanu et Sukkot David hanofalet. Harachaman hu yakim lanu et Sukkot David hanofalet. Harachaman hu yakim lanu et Sukkot David hanofalet. So do me a favor so that I'm not doing a little solo journey over here. Or you can snap, or you can clap, or you can just do like a little groove, like you're in a gospel choir, you know? Right? Harachamanu yakim lanu et Sukkot David hanofalet. Harachamanu yakim lanu et Sukkot David hanofalet. Harachamanu yakim lanu et Sukkot David hanofalet. David hanofalet. Translation: Dear Lord, I'm falling on my face. I'm exhausted and I don't know when to build my sukkah. Oh, holy God, how I want to show up on my mat, but I'm feeling really tired and plotting. Dear Lord, please help me get up again. Please help me show up again for myself and for the world. Oh, sweet God, I need your help. Please help me love myself and show up once again. You see, it's all the same. Us in the sukkah, it's all the same. We're just gonna fall and get back up. That's how we become righteous people. So, opening story. Are you ready? Is that cool, guys? Anya, how we doing? I don't know you guys yet. It's Alexi. I want to see that I'm vibing on your vibes. Good vibrations. Oh, Abby. That's who's Abigail Sapir. Hi, Suze Magoos. We got some soap. I like the color of your scarf. All right, cool. So I said, you know, Jenna, when you're asking me to share about Sukkot, what I'm really finding is that Sukkot and yoga are like interchangeable. And right before we got on, I asked her, what is yoga? Like, why does she do yoga? Like, what is it? Why? Like, what things does she get from yoga? Like, really, like, why? And I'm going to ask you guys that question later. So I'll appreciate it if you take a moment in your mind to ask yourself why you do yoga. And I think the fascinating reveal is going to be, it's the same reason why we sit in the sukkah. But I'm just giving you a prompt so you have time to prepare your answers. So opening stories like this. So there was a famous rabbi in history, and his name was Rav Hillel. And Rav Hillel was known of all of his qualities to be extremely humble. Extremely humble. This was like what he was known for. Okay. Like, you know, Jenna's known for her sweetness. I'm known for my enthusiasm. Rav Hillel was known for his humility. And so there he is with his students. I'll show you the little sukkah. It's awesome, right? We've got some candies, some fruits, some colored pencils, some unicorns. So he's sitting in his sukkah with his chevre, with his boys. It's a boys sukkah. And he's there like ready to hear the most amazing teachings from their most humble Rebbe. And they're all excited. And so Rav Hillel says one line. And in Hebrew, I'll say it and then I'll translate it. So Rav Hillel, the most humble, says, "Oh, Sukkis, imani kan, hakol kan." If I'm here, everything is here. Ve'imani lo kan, and if I'm not here, en shum davar. There's nothing here. And he's smiling and he's chuckling and he's sitting in his sukkah. If I'm here, everything is here. And if I'm not here, nothing is here. And the students are kind of like, Rav Hillel, like, boo, what you talking about, Willis? Like, boy, what you saying, Rabbi? Rabbi, I don't know what you're saying, but that sounds really arrogant, you know, bon quickly, security, rude. What's he saying? The boys were so confused. How could their most humble rabbi say such a thing? So they're all kind of sitting there uncomfortable, but like they know because they're good Jews, like it's got to give benefit of the doubt, you know? So finally, one of the students says, Rabbi, I'm so sorry. I really don't understand what you're saying. Like, I'm not trying to accuse you of anything, but that didn't sound like you. That sounded really arrogant. Like, could you explain to us what you mean? And so Rav Hillel said, yeah, sure. I'm teaching you the lesson of Sukkot. And he said like this, Imani kan, if I'm present in the sukkah, I have everything. You know that moment in high school, you're like hysterically laughing with your best friend, like so much you could like pee in your pants. It doesn't matter if you got an F on your test. It doesn't matter if you don't have money. It doesn't matter if your parents grounded you. In that moment of hysterical laughter with your best friend, you have everything, right? You guys can relate to that in that moment of just pure joy when you're just completely there. Nothing is missing. It doesn't matter if you feel fat. It doesn't matter if you feel ugly. It doesn't matter if you feel poor. It doesn't matter if you have shalom bite. It doesn't matter. In that moment, when I'm there, I have everything. Ve'imani lo kan. And if I'm not here, I don't have anything. Meaning I could be in the most beautiful sukkah in the world. I could have every blessing and gift in the world. But if I'm not present in that sukkah, there's nothing. There's literally nothing. So students understood he wasn't making an arrogant commentary on himself. He was teaching them the lesson of sukkah itself, which is actually presence. there's actually a custom in Israel. I guess it's become a custom to Sukkot, which is cute and adorable if you can do it with presents. But sometimes it becomes this feeling of, oh, I got to get to the next sukkah. Oh, where's the next sukkah party? Oh, I'm missing out. Oh, FOMO. And it's like, no, 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 no. That's not the idea of Sukkot. The idea of Sukkot is just to be in whatever sukkah you're in. And so I thought, like, wow, like, is that a Sukkot Torah from Rav Hillel, or is that a yoga Torah? You know, just obviously it's both. So that to me has been the most precious teaching that's carried me. I learned it from this is how old it was. I learned it from a DVD that someone put out from the seminary Neve. And ever since, that's really been my teaching for Sukkot that I hold in my heart, is just, can I be where I am? And then to complement that, before we get into our flow, I heard the most beautiful definition of happiness lately. I'm sure we all have our own relationship to happiness or striving for happiness. Some of us are really good at, different aspects of it. But this one really touched me. It said, happiness is when you don't want to be anywhere else besides where you are. So you don't have to be like smiling ear to ear. You don't have to be bouncing. You don't have to be, giddy. You don't have to be like expressing wow and wonderment. It's just, could even just be like super chill. Just be like, I don't want to be anywhere else right now. This is good enough, and I'll just top that off with another Torah, and then we'll flow. A mentor of mine, Chana Rachel Furman, she said that perfectionism is the enemy of good enough. In other words, if I'm always chasing a different reality besides the one I'm in, it can never be good enough. Perfectionism is the enemy of good enough. And I think good enough is the best friend of happiness and presence. So my blessing to us for all of Sukkot, before we get into some of the deeper teachings, and my blessing for us for this morning or this evening's or this afternoon or wherever you're at, for this morning's flow, is just that most basic yoga tenet of just being in it in every breath. And we'll connect breath more into it and everything, but that Rav Hillel teaching just, I love it. So Jenna, how does that touch you, that story?
So beautiful. And I'm thinking, how many of you guys are in this, I should have asked at the beginning of the course, but how many of you guys are hoping to teach yoga to your communities?
Oh, wow.
Because as I was listening to that, I love how you just brought it back to the foundation, and really you could form your whole yoga class on just being present and being in the sukkah, not doing anything else. Even if you don't have any special torahs, you're just doing yoga in the sukkah, being present. That's all you need to do, really. And I love that simplicity and bringing it back to the foundation. And I also just want to offer some another example of, if you're forming Sukkot yoga for your communities or families or just yourself, I'm sure you guys have heard this, but the 4 species in Sukkot represent 4 different parts of the body. And I love how embodied all the Sukkot teachings are. So we have the etrog, which is the heart. So you could do a whole class on just heart openers. The lulav is seated in the spine, the upright spine. Yes, and that's what we'll be doing today in our yoga. You could do a whole class on the hadassim, which is the eyes, and focusing on the eye gaze and balanced postures, and what are you looking at and how are you looking at it, and can you soften what you're looking at? And the whole class could be just on sight. And we also have the aravos, which is lips, and you could also form a whole class just on mantras and affirmations and how you're speaking to yourself. So if you are planning, like in the future, you could do a series through the 4 species, a yoga flow for each species. And another thing I've done one year is a whole yoga class through the 4 species, like starting with heart openers into spinal practices and so on. So if you're that type of person and you want to get it all, you can do it all in one class. Just wanted to put that out there. And the reason why I wanted to focus on the Lulav is because with Nilli's teachings and Torah teachings in general, we have a tendency to keep them in the mind and the intellect, which is a cold place. And to warm it up, we have to bring it down into the body. And the spine is what integrates higher and lower knowledge. And it's a great way to, after you're learning, bring it into the body through movement and just letting it settle and integrate. And also, like we talked about at the new moon gather, the letter, according to Sefer Yetzirah, that represents the month of Tishrei is the Lamed. And last yoga class, we did a lot of like Lamed, upward flowing motions. It's a leap into the new year. It's reaching. And the Lamed stands for Lulav. So that's another reason I chose the Lulav today. And Lamed also stands for heart. So yeah, and I think I actually learned this from Nilli possibly last year, but we shake the Lulav 36 times. And the 36 times that we shake the Lulav overall is connected to the 36 hours of Gan Eden. And the 36 times we see the light or in Torah. And there's one more 36. Does anyone know?
Tzaddikim.
Tzaddikim and the Hanukkah candles. So all of these, what all of these have in common is they all reveal the Or HaGanuz, the hidden light of creation. And when we shake the Lulav, we bring this Or HaGanuz we internalize and we bring it into our bodies because we have to dwell in the sukkah. The sukkah is this big embrace, this womb, and to dwell, to sit in it is like internalizing the makif, bringing it in into the bodies. So, did you have?
Jenny, you know what's really cool? Also, the spine. I'm not such a. I envy all of you and your body and yoga knowledge. I'm not there yet, but doesn't the spine have 33 like finger bobbers? How do you say that in like accurate biological speech? What each link in the spine is called a what?
Vertebrae.
Vertebrae. Thanks. That was helpful. They don't use that word too much in Rashi, you know. There's 33, correct?
Yeah, 33.
So just another interesting spine Torah. I was studying Chabad Hasidut with Shifra Chana Hendry, and we realized that also in the what's called Seder Hishtal Shalut, which is basically the process it took for God to take himself from an infinite being into a world where we could touch and have physicality. It was a 33, it was a process of 33 contractions. And so actually, what's interesting about the spine is it represents bringing the infinite into the physical. And then if we go back up the spine, it's going from the physical to the infinite because this 33 count. So that's just another interesting spine Torah.
Love that. So awesome. Love that. And so if you are forming a spinal practice, a yoga sequence that is focused on the spine should include all the range of motions, all the movements, because for a healthy spine, we often, live front and back very linearly, but a full range of movement actually has an impact on all the organs of the body. So we have the flexion of the spine. Does anyone want to show what that looks like? A flexion? It's like the child's pose or cat pose. It's when you round the spine forward. Everyone try it just so you feel it. A flexion, rounding it forward, the spine. So imagine you're just in child's pose or cat pose. And then we have extension, which round the spine back. That's cow pose and sphinx pose. We have rotation of the spine, which are twists, which are really, really great. Seated twists. Any type of twist is a healthy rotation of the spine. We have lateral flexion, which is side bending, like triangle pose or just I love side to side seated stretches. And then axial extension, which actually vertically elongates the spine and decompresses the spine. So that's like your traditional down dog. So let's hope to hit all of those. And every day we should be having all those range of movements for a healthy spine. And really they have an impact on our whole body. A healthy spine is a healthy body, please God. So let's take a minute to get comfortable, get onto your yoga mat, and we'll transition. Also, if you are someone who really gets fueled by music, we have the Jewish yoga playlist. I don't put it on just because it's kind of hard over Zoom, volume wise and everything, but I'm going to just copy the link again in case you guys lost it. Feel free to play the Jewish yoga collective playlist and we can be in sync that way. Here, let me put it on the chat box. Find your own volume set that you like. I'm going to switch pins over here. How are we doing? All right. So let's start in a seated. And if you're in your sukkah, just find root in the sukkah. Just gaze up at this chach above you and this temporary structure that you created. We're not there yet. We still have a lot of work to do. But if you're there, just sit and dwell in your space. Bring the hands to the shin. And we'll just do slight forward and back movements, flexion and extension. Rocking your pelvis forward and back. And start to bring your breath into the movement. So inhaling as you push forward, shoulder blades draw back. Exhaling to round the spine, navel towards the spine. Find nice and gentle movements. And we're really targeting the lower back here with our hands on the shins. And we'll slide the hands up to the knees, targeting the thoracic spine, pressing the heart forward and back, unlocking the energy, letting it flow upwards. Gentle inhale as you press forward, exhale as you curve back. And a rigid spine means that we cannot change. We shake the lulav as this representation that we can grow, we can transform. We are not stuck beings. We're always able to move. And we'll bring the shoulders up and down. Here we're isolating the trapezius muscle and unlocking the energy up into the neck. Bring the breath into it, inhaling up and exhaling down. Drop the shoulders and roll the head, opening the neck. And it's just like when God says, I am who I am. I am who I am means I'm not limited by who I am today. And roll it the other way. So shaking the lulav opens us to this possibility. I am who I am today, but I'm not defined by it. I'm not limited. Nice. And we'll inhale the hands to the schach above you. Exhale to the left, gentle twist over the left shoulder, rotating the ribs. reaching through the crown of the head and exhaling towards that back shoulder. And inhale, we'll reach up. Exhale, other side. Gaze over the right shoulder, pads of the fingertips, plant behind us. We grow long on the inhale and we exhale towards the back shoulder, rotating the ribs. And a few more on each side, using your own breath for rhythm. And Lulav is also the same gematria as Chaim, as life. So this movement brings new life force, new energy that's been locked or rigid. One more on each side. Letting your exhale float you deeper into the twist. Nice, bring the hands back to center. We'll transition to all fours. So stack the palms under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And the inhale, drop the belly, open the chest. Exhale, navel towards the spine, press into the palms. Follow your breath, fueling the spine, nourishing the spine. And we're also told that we wave the lulav to disperse negative winds. And as we've been talking about in the new moon course, the element is wind. So when we're out in the elements of the sukkah and the wind comes, we are rooted internally. We are rooted in faith. A few more breaths here. And find tabletop. We'll step the right foot between the hands. Sink the hips low. Left thumb will hook over right. Inhale, lifting through the fingertips. Exhaling, sinking the hips down. And the human is the only mammal that has two curvatures of the spine, the lumbar and thoracic. So the lower half of our body helps us to weight bear and have locomotion, and the upper half helps us reach and breathe and grasp above us. So one breath here, long and tall like a lulav. Exhale, float the hands to the sides, sweep the hands forward, step back to tabletop. Few movements here, inhaling and exhaling. What can we release that's rigid and stuck? Let it out on the exhale. And we'll find tabletop. Find balance in the palms and the knees. Stillness for a moment. And then step that left foot to the top of the mat. Sink the hips low. This time right thumb over left. Inhale, reach to the sky or the sukkah above you, and exhale, sink the hips low. And the spine also has the ascending and descending pathways, the information that's lifting and descending. And when we're sitting in the sukkah, even when we're not mindful, even when we're not learning, even when we're not engaged intellectually, just sitting there, the information is lifted through the spine. And exhale, hands to the side, press the hands forward, back to tabletop. And we'll tuck the toes, we'll lift the knees, sink the hips up and back, pressing down on the heels, even lifting the toes to really shift the weight back. Few breaths here, and just gaze at the down dog that you've created, like a temporary structure And the sukkah is this temporary place, this dwelling that reminds us of our ephemeral nature. Our bodies are fleeting. We're here for a brief time. Our life is a fleeting gift. So with this knowledge, what is important right now? 2 breaths here. Lengthening the spine, this axial extension. And we'll press that left foot into the mat. Inhale, right leg floats above you. Exhale, step the right foot all the way forward. Soften the knee down. And we'll come into a seated warrior 2. So our knee is parallel with our heel. We're going to sink down and open the arms wide. And then gather in front of you like we're gathering the 4 species. Bring it into the sternum. And this Lulav-themed, I'm not sure if it's saying it right, this waving ritual, this embodied waving ritual of the Lulav, we press it outwards and inwards, out and in. And when we wave out, we release, we let go of something. And when we bring it into the body and hug the species into ourselves, we're inviting something. So we can try it now. We'll wave out and push something away. So for an example, I've released the lack of trust that Hashem is in my life. And inhale, bring it in. I invite the knowledge that Hashem is sustaining and present in my life. So whatever it is for you, wave it out, deepen into your hips. Inhale to lift, bring it in. If you have a lulav, you can totally hold it here. And then open the hands like discs, nice, long and wide. Sweep the arm forward. Step to the front of your mat, forward folds. And again, that element of wind just gently blowing you right to left. Bend the knees to really lengthen the spine, unlock the stuckness from the lower back. Shaking the lulav, just releasing the spine. And then inhale, we rise, hands to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Briefly pause for a moment. Inhale to lift. Exhale, dive forward, hands to the mat. Inhale, flat back, heart away from the legs. Exhale, hands to the mat, step back into plank. You can always come onto all 4s, bringing the knees down for a more supportive posture. Otherwise, send the weight back in the heels, engage the navel, press into the palms. Imagine your lulav spine nice and long. And then lower all the way to the ground or knees, chest, chin. Rest your heart on the earth, tops of feet rooting down. And inhale, we'll peel the heart off the mat. Exhale, lower. One more time, inhale, peel. And exhale, back to all 4s. Lift up and back, downward facing dog. Few breaths here. Can everyone hear me all right? Just want to check in. Yes, amazing. Pressing the chest towards the top of the thighs. And then we'll stamp that right foot on the mat. Inhale, left leg floats above us. Exhale, step the foot to the front of the mat, soften the knee. Into that supported warrior 2. Gather in front of you like you're holding your lulav. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, deepen. Inhale, lift. Exhale, I release. Inhale, I invite in. Say it out loud to really bring this mindfulness into the physical. I release the notion that God is not guiding me. I invite in the notion that Hashem is guiding my every step. You can deepen into the same one each time, or you can flow through different intentions. Press your lulav in front of you, open the hands, airplane the arms out, and we'll cartwheel the hands forward, step the right foot to the front of the mat, forward fold. Rocking right and left. Soft sway in the breeze. And then feel the feet rooted in the ground. And then inhale, lifting the energy from the earth. Hands to the sky, gaze upwards. Exhale, hands to the heart. Check in with the heart for just a moment. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, flat back, heart lifts. Exhale, hands to the mat, step it back into your plank. Lower all the way to the mat. Top to the feet, press down. Inhale, this time we'll lift to an upward facing. Lift the knees for more energy or keep them down for more supportive pose. Breathe into the chest, open the throat. Exhale, lift the hips up and back. Nice long spine. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step it through. This time we'll come into full warrior two. So back edge of the foot is in line with the mat. Sink into the hips. I'm getting an alert here. Oh no. Are you guys still there? Okay, good. Sink into the hips. Open in warrior two. And we'll gather in front of us. When you inhale the lulav to the center, you can straighten the leg, or you can keep it deep. Inhale, what do you invite in? Exhale, what do you release? Say it out loud. And if you're not saying it out loud, just let the exhale carry your intention outwards. Nice. Spread the fingers, then widen. Warrior two. Bend that left arm, reach through the fingertips up, lengthening through the side body, and then fold backwards. Breathing through the side body. Nice. Flip it up and over. Left fingertips reach behind you. And press that left shoulder back like there's a wall behind you. And keep anchoring into that left edge of the foot. Nice. Back to warrior two. We'll straighten that leg into the back foot a few inches forward. Slide the hand to the shin. Open the arm, lift it to the sky. And notice if that pelvis is popping to the left. If you're shifting weight into the left hip, just gently nudge it inwards. So it's a gentle lift. And that gives us more ability to root through that right shin. Send it back, warrior two. Float the arms in front of you to frame the foot. Without moving the torso or the hips, send the right leg back into your plank. Exhale down. Tops of the feet, soft on the ground. Inhale, upward facing dog. Bring the shoulder blades together behind you. Press into those palms. Exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Few breaths here. The inhale fills up the belly, top of the belly, chest. And the exhale, chest, top of the belly, low belly. Right foot plants into the mat. Inhale, left leg floats. Exhale, step it all the way through. Set up your footing, warrior two. Shoulders drop towards the hips. Open the palms like the ceiling of the schach, the sukkah covering. And then gathered in front of you, your lulav. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, wave it out. This is just practice for the real thing, guys. Deep breaths here. And then sink into that front leg. Open it up. Graceful warrior, lift it up and back. Lift through that side body. And then left arm comes onto the top of the leg. Right fingertips to the sky and then over the ear. Open the left palm like you're receiving from above. Back to warrior two. Straighten the leg. Right foot edges in. Float the hand down to the shin. Right shoulder lifts up and back. Float the hand up. Remember to breathe. Soften the face. Exhale, warrior two. Cartwheel the arms forward. Step that right foot to the top of the mat, swaying right and left. And inhale, bring it on up. Exhale, sweep it through the heart. Inhale to the sky. Exhale, dive the heart forward and down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step it back to plank. Lift the top of the thighs, the core. Exhale, lower to the ground or knees, chest, chin. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale to child's pose. Toes kiss together, sink the hips back. Rest the forehead onto the mat. Let's just check on you all here. Feel the third eye sinking into the mat below you. Run your awareness down the spine. And child's pose replicates the primary curve of an unborn child. And the sukkah is the womb of Hashem. So we become the unborn child. We're brought back to this state of perfection and of inner purity where unconditional love is just showered down upon us. Beautiful. We'll float the hips up. Then we'll tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back. This time we'll walk the hands back to the feet. And inhale, vertebrae by vertebrae. Just like Nilli said, each 33 vertebrae discs lift in intention and float to the top of the mat. Exhale, hands to the heart. So the Midrash teaches us that another reason we shake the lulav is to show that the earth in all the species are alive and dancing and praising God. So let's just close the eyes and shake the body, shake it all out like no one's watching. And Sukkot is the source of joy for the entire year. It's the source that we draw from the entire year. And joy is our natural inherent state. So anything that covers that up is just dust on the diamond. So just imagine shaking any of that out that is blocking our natural, joyous, shiny selves. Dancing in joy, close the eyes. Beautiful. Few more moments, shake, shake, shake. And as you're shaking, travel to the front of your mat. Settle the feet into the ground, find stillness. Letting all that movement integrate and settle. And that shaking that woke up the cells and the organs extends to the skin. And then we widen and expand our awareness from the skin outwards into our nefesh. Kabbalah says that nefesh is 6 feet around us, this soul level that creates an aura sphere around us. So this joy pervading outwards like vapor around us, a protection of joy, like an inner sukkah that is widening and widening, expanding. And feel your body in the middle of that sukkah that you created. The sukkah of pure joy. And we'll bring the palms to the low back, fingertips wedge in the upper ribs of the back. And gently rock the pelvis forward. Lift the chest and heart space. Squeeze the shoulder blades together for a beautiful heart opener. The Lulav also stands for low lev. He has a heart. So we let all of this joy and movement integrate and expand in the heart center. Letting any information from the spine enter the heart. What is arising now? And then exhale, float the hands down the back of the legs into a forward fold. From the tailbone spilling down the spine, over the lumbar spine, thoracic spine, cervical, skull, crown, falling off the mat. And bend the knees again, right and left. Find that gentle sway of movement in the wind. Like we're in the elements in the sukkah. The wind can just come in at any moment. but we're rooted and stable through the soles of the feet. And inhale, we'll lift the heart. Crown of the head reaches forward as the sit bones reach back. Find that center balance point. And exhale, we'll come to a seated and bring the hands onto the knees. And we'll circle in big circles of the spine. So on all 6 days, we are binding the 4 species, but on the 7th day, we have to untie the lulav. There's a loosening of the lulav, and that represents the loosening of ourselves. Like an unbound lulav, circle the other way. We live effortlessly with dance, with air, with lightness, because we're rooted from the Hagim, from the holidays we worked through. We're finally at that 7th day. We're not there yet, but once we're there, this unbinding of the lulav, this opening, this release, and we become a free person. And stay right here, keep going. Otherwise, you can open your legs wide and that lateral flexion side to side. So inhale, we lift through the crown, open the palms. Exhale into the side body. We'll bring the legs together. If you have a bolster or a rolled up blanket, we're going to set it under the spine and nourish the spine a little. So prop the spine up with pillows like you're giving it a nice warm hug. Set the hips down right below it and lower the spine nice and long. Let the shoulders drop. So if you're rolling up a blanket, you can even fold it and put that crease right under the neck. You can also do it with pillows. I'll give you a few minutes to set up and open the palms and feel nourished. Beautiful. So we're allowing the integration of all those spinal movements start to settle in the body, settle into the organs, and any wisdom and learning and that we've acquired through Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we allow that wisdom to trickle down and inform our subtle body. Few more moments here. And feel free, if you're loving this restorative posture, to stay in it. If you're okay to move on, you can move the bolster and come onto your back. And just lift the knees and cactus the arms to the side of you. Lower the knees to the left. Gaze over the right. Gentle twist. Feeling supported by the ground. And if you're not in a sukkah, just visualizing the schach above you, showering down Amuna, faith, and unconditional love upon you. And inhale, lift the knees, exhale to the right and gaze over that left shoulder. Open the palms to receive all the divine gifts that are flowing from above. And then lift and extend the legs in front of you. Find a final relaxation pose with the palms facing up. And we're just going to run the awareness through these two curvatures of the spine. So first, everything that's touching the ground is the primary curve. So the top of the head, the top of the back, that thoracic spine, the sacrum, below the shins and the heels. And then we also have the secondary curve, again, that is unique in humans, that no other mammal has both of these. So the lift under the knees and the lift under the mid back and under the neck. And these two amazing curves that God created us with to move freely, to praise upwards, and also to be connected into the earth below. And we'll bring awareness into the breath. And the sukkah is also compared to the clouds of glory. We are literally in the clouds of glory in the sukkah. And the Rebbe of Rushin taught that these clouds of glory were formed by the collective exhale of the Jewish people. So their shared yet multiple breaths created a vapor, a unified exhale that surrounded and protected them throughout their travels in the desert. So visualize each breath forming this vapor of protection, of safety and peace around you. And visualize that expanding from the body outwards into that nefesh field 6 feet around you. And then even expanding more, that vapor, the clouds of glory into the whole sukkah. So even if you're not in the sukkah, visualize your body from a bird's eye view, just laying on the earth, surrounded by a sukkah. The schach above you. And then zoom out even further outside of the sukkah. Where is your sukkah located? Maybe it's in the cobblestones of Jerusalem, near a bubbling spring, near a vast ocean, mountains, in your backyard. And that safety and protection expanding. And then zoom back in from outside the sukkah, come back inside the sukkah, arrive back into your body, back into your breath. And then feel the back of the heart rest on the ground, receiving all of this emunah and abundance into the heart. And we'll gently roll the wrists and ankles. Can even lift them up. Liquefy the joints. And then rock onto the left side. Push yourself up. And gently tuck the chin towards the chest, bowing towards the heart. And giving appreciation and a prayer for this upright spine, this lulav that brings down so much knowledge, so much godly energy into our systems. Thank you for practicing. So before we move on, I just want, so I can hear from everyone in the chat box, want you to type in the comment box, or you can unmute yourself if you have a word or a phrase. How can you intentionally tap into joy this Sukkot season? It can be a word, a phrase, a color, a feeling, a song. Presence, love that. Ah, laughter, yes. Reminiscing, yellow, I feel that. It's super energizing color. I'm gonna go with laughter also. Nearly makes me laugh, so. Anyone else? Getting takeout? Send your recommendations over here. Dancing, love, yes. Beautiful, thank you. Yummy food, moving inwards, presence. So, Muley, do you want to take it from here for a little bit? And then we can also come back, or we could start with a journaling exercise, unless you want to take it from here.
My gut would be to like dive into some torahs and then maybe offer journaling so that
Yeah.
people can go
Let's
with what
do that.
is them. Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Hey sisters, first of all, that was so beautiful. And I'm so it's just so impressive not to take for granted how hard it is to also lead a yoga class while infusing it with teachings. I was thinking like, shoot, if I was teaching a class and I also had to tell them to take a breath and like put their hands here, like it's just really, it's epic and awesome and not to be taken for granted. So thank you for working so hard to literally make your yoga classes like shiurim. You know, it's special. It's a special privilege that, you know, probably only us in this generation had the privilege of bringing these two wisdoms together. So that's really, really, really awesome. It's so beautiful to experience over here. So what I'm thinking is I want to take the Torahs that you shared during practice and sort of just expand and expound on them. Because at least with my version of 80 everything, when I learn Torahs, they go in and out. So I really love reviewing and getting deeper. Then I feel like they're mine. And I would love to share that with the sisters so that everybody here can take these teachings and bring them to their Sukkot, to their meals, to their friends. Does that sound like a good plan, dear sisters? Cool. Okay. And for me, I love when everybody is off mute, even if there is noise in the background, because I love contribution. I'm sure Jenna does too. I'm just saying it helps me if you want to say anything that you should feel free. So everyone is welcome to take themselves off mute and just jump in at any point if something touches you. Okay, so the two things that Jenna mentioned that I really want to just take to the next level are the idea that the sukkah is the womb and the idea that the sukkah is the clouds of glory. So whoa, the womb of God. Wow. Like, I don't know if that sounds like precious or gnarly. Like, am I swimming in amniotic fluid, you know? Like, get me out of here. Mom, Dad, you know, like, hey, yeah, you know, like, and I give Hashem a kick for all the difficulty of the high holidays, you know, like, Hashem, that wasn't cool, you know, like, stop. So the idea of the sukkah being the womb comes from the Hebrew idea that the word womb, does anyone know how to say womb in Hebrew? I'm just going to look through my little chat here. So it's, yeah, who got that? Oh, Susie, it's so nice to see your face and not a picture. Mm-hmm. Who said rechem? Oh, Jenna, cheating. You knew it. Guys, can we just take a minute to note how epic it is that I'm basically a rainbow right now? Okay, cool. I got your yellow, girlfriend. I got your yellow. Okay. So a womb in Hebrew is called a rechem. Now, that would be a very random Hebrew fun fact, Anya, if not for the idea that rechem is the shoresh, the word of the word rachamim. Does anyone know what rachamim means? Jenna, say
compassion.
Good. Who said that? Sorry, I'm just on a phone, so I have to keep swiping through. Was that Lexi?
Me, and I think I learned it in one of your shiurs.
Lexi, I didn't even know we knew each other. That's so wonderful. Oh, lovely. Okay, yes. So rechem, and these are Torahs that are like every year Torahs. You know, like gotta keep bringing these back in. Rachamim is the word compassion, and actually all of the work that we've been doing from Elul into Rosh Hashanah and into Yom Kippur is telling God just how compassionate he is, you know, even though it might not feel like it with some of the circumstances of our lives. But yeah, we're telling God all of Rosh Hashanah, Hashem, Hashem, kerachum v'chanun. God, you're so compassionate and merciful. And the reason we do that, the reason we tell God on repeat how compassionate he, she, it is because we're supposed to imitate and emulate God. And the whole answer to all of our prayers on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is, if you really, really want an awesome year, no problem, Bob, just emulate me. Practice compassion on self and others. And actually, Lexi, I don't know if you're watching this last week's Torah class, but one of my old students brought up this beautiful idea that why is the womb connected to compassion? So yes, correct. The womb is the motherly organ. It's the organ that houses the baby. Actually, scientifically, it is the only organ in the body that is designed for another human. My lungs, they're for me, you know, and for the Rastafari, you know, my eyes, they're for me. My hands are for me. My heart is for me. Everything is for me. but the womb is a place and a space that is created for another. And not only that, it's the only place in our body that makes space for another. And that's essentially what compassion is. Because what is a baby? A baby is basically, sorry, moms and precious, who just said that they were just pregnant and nursing. It was one of the Holy Sisters just mentioned she was pregnant and nursing. A baby is essentially a parasite. It mooches off of you. It takes from you. It makes you uncomfortable. It's undeveloped. Frankly, and may we all be blessed with holy, healthy children if we want them. But a baby, it's really an uncomfortable, like tadpole, sort of gooey, ooey. Like if I looked like a fetus right now, you guys would be like rushing to get off of this Zoom call because I would look so freaky, you know. And I'm annoying, and I'm taking, and that's essentially what other people are. And so are we. And that's why it's okay, because you know what? The purpose of a fetus is it's a work in progress. Why does a mother still love its baby when it's making the mother nauseated, and it's kicking it, and it's taking from it, and it's depleting it, and it's stealing its energy, and it's stealing its nutrients? Why does a mother still love a fetus? Because frankly, she's compassionate on it. And what does that mean? What does compassion actually mean? She makes space for the fact that it is a work in progress. It's growing. And that's what compassion is on ourselves, is making space for the fact that the story is not over. I am not fully developed, Nilli. I'm parasitic, and I'm a mooch, and I make people uncomfortable sometimes. Anya is not fully developed. Amanda is not her full self. You know, we're all a work in progress. And when I stop and I can realize that, then I can have this compassion on my process. I'm doing my best. We're all doing our best. I mean, let's just raise of hands. Who thinks they're doing their best? Jenna, you doing your best? Put that hand up, girl. Girl, get your hand up. Let me see who else isn't raising their hand so I could give them a hard time. Lexi, thank you. Because I know that. Kay, what is your full name? Kay with the pretty yellow scarf? What is your actual name so I can reference you by something other than Kay?
Sophie, I'm sorry. I don't know how to work Zoom very good.
So if you're doing great, and you know what, are you raising your hand because you're doing your best? Am I right on that? I mean, you're raising a new baby. Like, am I correct that the fact that you even show up for a Zoom call, that's like mind blowing. So that's essentially what compassion is. Compassion is recognizing, is making a space for myself while I grow. Until the day we die, we're growing. We're a work in progress. So that's really compassion. And that's what it means that we're sitting in the rechem, we're sitting in the womb of God, is we're sitting in this place where we allow ourselves to be a work in progress. Because you know what? It doesn't end this sukkah. We're going to mess up, like we said in the beginning, and fall again like the sukkah. Until next Yom Kippur, we're going to keep falling. And on next sukkah, until the day we die, after 120, we're still a work in progress. So this is like an immersion bath of compassion for the fact that we've come really far. We're amazing. A fetus is an amazing, amazing miracle. We are amazing, amazing miracles, and we are parasitic, and we are annoying, and we take up space, and that's okay. And that's okay. You know, one of the most beautiful things I ever heard, which is so, again, basic and foundational, is I'm worthy of the space I take up in a room, and I'm worthy of the space I take up in a sukkah, and I can have compassion on that. And the second reason why we say, so everyone understood the first reason now why we say that the womb is the sukkah, because the sukkah is, right, we said it's the rechem, which comes from the word rachamim, which comes from compassion, is now giving ourselves the time and space to know that even though we just kicked butt on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, like now let's give ourselves space to integrate and just to be in progress. The second reason that the sukkah is called the womb of Hashem, and that's why we call it the rechem, is because, like we said, all of that rachamim that we cultivated for ourselves and the people who we needed to forgive, now that protects us and surrounds us. And this brings us into the idea of the breath. So was everybody wowed by the idea that Jenna said that the sukkah, which rabbi did you go? The Rishna Rebbe?
Rabbi Rushin.
Rujin is in the Rishner? You don't know.
No.
Cool.
The Rebbe of Rushin.
The Rebbe of Ruzhin. Okay, could be the same guy, but I don't know. So this is an amazing idea that these clouds of glory that is the sukkah are from a collective breath. Jenna, I'm going to blow your mind even deeper with the teaching from Moralei Golem. So what I learned is that it's not just a collective breath, but which breath, right? Like after I've had 3 shots and I breathe it out and it's like, whoa, vodka, like that kind of breath. Like which breath are we talking about? Like the breath after Yom Kippur when I haven't brushed my teeth, like which breath, like morning breath, like which breath is this collective breath made out of, cause what if everybody's not doing yoga? Like where are all their beautiful exhales coming from? So Moralei Golem shared with me that this part, it's funny, right? I mean, you remember your breath on Yom Kippur, Lord have mercy. That's why I sat in the front row. And thank God you weren't in front of me. It would have been a bad scene. So that this breath is actually, so what does it mean that we're in the clouds of glory that's made of our breath? So this breath is called the Hevel Piv, the mist of our mouths. So what mist? That it's all of the mists that was exchanged between us when I called everybody I loved and I said the following words: I'm sorry, I hurt you, I messed up, I'll try better, I forgive you, and I love you. Specifically from the collective exhales of all of our apologies from Elul through Rosh Hashanah. Specifically through the words that we said to Hashem, Hashem, this service is so boring. I'm in 500 pages and I'm passing out, but I love you and thank you. And I'm sorry, Hashem, I'm so sorry. It's those breaths. And that is actually why, now it makes sense, why it forms a protection. Because we're protected as a nation by this quality that we are willing to humble ourselves and apologize. And that moral strength, where I'm willing to look at Anya and be like, Anya, I really messed up. It wasn't in good communication with you, and I'm sorry. That now creates a protective bond and a love between Anya and I. And it's those exhales that then form the protection for our nation. I love all the people of Israel, all the people of the world. I really do. I love this world. I mean, like Indians are freaking amazing. Chinese are awesome and hysterical. I love my Black homies. Let's just be real. I love my Black homies, right? So I love the nations of the world, but they don't have this privilege where as a nation, and maybe they do. I mean, don't take that for, maybe there's customs all over the world, but what I'm specifically saying is the Jewish people have this privilege. We're encouraged to pause and apologize to each other. And that is our protection. Like Sahal is awesome, but it's not what's protecting us. What's protecting us is our willingness to humble ourselves, show up, and apologize. And I want to really say, if you didn't get the chance to apologize, or if you didn't have the strength, or if it was too hard, you still can. It's not over. Tshuva is eternal. And so we can still form these protections, this protection for our nation from these beautiful mist that comes from our mouth, the mingling of the I'm sorry's and the I forgive you and I love you. And I also want to encourage us that if you can't say it to the person, like for example, there's someone in my life, it's the first time I ever had this, where I'm still holding a grudge. And I couldn't forgive, I just didn't succeed. But what I am doing is I'm saying out loud to myself, I forgive you. Because I don't yet have the moral fortitude to say it to the person, but at least I could say it out loud. And at least I'm showing Hashem, like, I want to want. So when Jenna said that we're sitting in the clouds of glory that protect us. So as we were in the desert, when the clouds of glory protected us in the wilderness, it's really these apologies that are mingling. And that's really where we get our strength from. And I just have a question, if anyone is not embarrassed to answer. Did anyone feel after they offered an apology this year that it created a new aura or a new beauty or a new wealth or wisdom or comfort for you? Can anyone share maybe just one person that maybe you apologized to and it created that space of protection and beauty? Is anyone willing to share that? Come on. Absters, what you got? Did you have an opportunity to, and you could turn me down. Everyone can say, I don't want to talk. That's totally your privilege. But Abby, was there somebody that maybe you apologized to, that it felt like you renewed maybe the covenant or the sacredness? Bye, Amanda, we love you.
Yeah, I mean, with my husband, we did it.
Oh,
And
God.
it definitely, for sure. The truth is, like, I didn't really, like, I did the whole Shana Tova thing, but I didn't do so much like asking forgiveness. But for sure, I feel like my husband is the most person I need to ask for forgiveness. My husband and my children, because, you know, that's the people we're constantly doing the things to that are wrong, mostly, I think. So it did make a new energy, and it felt good.
Amazing. And for sure, and Abby, I just want to echo that. Reb Shlomo Karliebach says that the first people we need to apologize to are our children. And definitely, I would say the first is the spouse, but, you know, I'm not going to argue with Reb Shlomo. But yeah, beautiful. And even if it doesn't heal everything, and even if there's, you know, endless marital or boyfriend, girlfriend, or just endless fixings to do, you know, like just that 1 ounce of moving forward creates that beautiful, those clouds of glory, that holy spiritual protection is really the work that we've done. So I just wanted to really echo those, and you guys are going to have the privilege of getting Jenna's Sukkot yoga routine. And so she talks about these concepts in the routine, and I think it's really beautiful to learn them in depth so that when you hear it in your practice, you really have a deep understanding of that compassion and making space for yourself. And, you know, it takes, at least in my experience, it takes a lot of bravery and courage to apologize. It really does. So just returning to this idea again and again through the video that you're about to receive, or you may not have watched yet, is really precious. There's one more idea I'd like to share. Do we feel like we have time, energy, and focus for that?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. Guys, this is really special for me because I haven't really met so many of you. And, you know, there's this idea that when you meet somebody, you waited your whole lives just to be in touch with them. So I feel like I'm sorry, Anya, I'm sorry to call you out. You just have this really pretty, sweet smile and that really cool, like tent above your head, whatever your house situation is. And I just feel like, you know, I waited 30, okay, I know Abby, thank God. But, and of course, Jenna, but like, I feel like, you know, I'm 37. I feel like I've waited 37 years of my life just to be on a Zoom call and like get to like interact with your souls. And that's really special for me. I just want to say that out loud and get to know that Lexi, I've been learning with you. Like, it's just really precious. Okay. So the third teaching that I really want to, it's really the fourth, because we started with that Rav Hillel and the arrogance and the presence Torah. And then the second one was the womb and the rachamim. And the third one is the clouds of glory and the apologies. And the fourth one is there's something very special about the sukkah that makes it a very unique mitzvah, which makes it very, very connected to yoga. And that is that the sukkah is one of 3 mitzvot, only 3 mitzvot of all the 613, for which we use our entire body. So the other 2 are living in Eretz Yisrael, or being in the land of Israel, because then your whole body is in that. And when you're in Israel, you're in a mitzvah. The second one is the mikvah, because when you immerse in a mikvah, you're using your whole body. And the only other mitzvah where you use your entire body, according to the Bible, I mean, now maybe we do 614 yogas, the next mitzvah, but it's already in there where it talks about guarding your body. But the only other mitzvah where we use our entire body is the sukkah. So a lot of people make a joke that you should put a mikvah in a sukkah in Eretz Yisrael, and you'll be like exponentially doing a mitzvah. And there are a few families that have that. I know there's one in the yeshuv called Koa. And I think maybe there's one in Bahrain where someone built a mikvah under a sukkah in Eretz Yisrael. So like, you know, explosively immerse it. But I think for you guys as yogis, you know, and I aspire to merit that title one day, but for you guys as yogis who really already connect to this idea of being embodied and using the whole body, I think, you know, for just when you're doing yoga in your sukkah, or if you have that opportunity to realize how exponentially you're grandiosifying the mitzvahs. So I thought that was also really, really special. And finally, you know, before we got on, Jenna, before you guys came onto the call, Jenna and I were just talking, and I said, Jenna, this is just kind of how I'll pass the mic back to Jenna. What is it like? Why do you do yoga? You know, like my life is pretty Torah obsessed. So she could ask me why I learn Torah and I'd have a share of answers. But I said, you know, you're a yogi and also a Torah teacher, but, you know, yogi. And like, why do you do it? You know, like, why, like, why, you know, like, okay, like you have a hot bod, cool, you know, like you're calm, awesome. But like, why? And her answer was immediately integration. She said, yoga means integration. And I said, wow. Why wow? Because that's actually what the sukkah and the time in the sukkah is all about. It's taking all of it, like Jenna has mentioned, it's taking all of the energy we put into Rosh Hashanah, all the dreams, all the goals, you know, and again, actually, I'll just share personally this year, I didn't make time to make a goal list. And I hope to do that in Sukkot, because Sukkot is taking all of those dreams and beginning to bring them not only into consciousness, but into body and action, and really integrating all of the hard work and all of the blessings and amazing things we did and all the failures of last year and integrating them in and seeing what we can do about it. And it's really where we just sit with it and give it all a minute to get into every little last cell of our body so that we can now move forward into 5782, just having really giving all of that effort its time and space to settle in. And that brings us back to the first Torah of Rav Hillel of presence. Because if I could sit in my sukkah and just allow it all in, then I've really done the work. So thank you guys for letting me share. And Jenna, did that inspire anything in you? Did it inspire a journal question? How did it sit upon you? Hope you're on mute.
I'm muted. So going off on that idea of integration, and then we'll wrap up. Sukkot is the celebration of the harvest, right? We're commanded to gather the 4 fruits. And so physically, we are gathering from the land. And spiritually, we're harvesting all the inspiration that we received from Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and we're integrating them into our lives, specifically through joy, which is Sukkot. And what I love about this idea of gathering is that we also unify the land of Israel by gathering these 4 fruits. So we have the lulav, which is grown in the deserts. We have the esrog, which is picked in the coastal plains. We have the hadassim in the Myrtle Mountains, and the aravos are harvested from the riverbeds. And our bodies are microcosms of the land of Israel, especially the female body. And so by unifying the land of Israel, we also unify our bodies. And so I was thinking, if you have a journal, that these 4 areas of Israel are also located in the body and in our emotional landscapes. So first, the desert, right? What parts of yourself are haven't been tended to? What parts are infertile and dry, have not been revealed yet? Maybe they've been uncared for, neglected. So you can take a few moments to write down, what is your desert? And maybe where is it located in your body? Maybe it's a certain sphera or chakra center. Maybe it's a body part. Or maybe it's just a feeling of what has been neglected. So then moving on to our coasts. And everyone has a different feeling of what a coast is to them. For me, it's expansive. What is my infinite self? So whatever your coast is to you, where is it in your body? Where is it in your emotional landscape? I feel my coast in my low belly, my blissful breathing center. That's just infinite and expansive. And then the mountains of Israel, which I haven't visited yet since making Aliyah, but the mountains to me, and you can have your own interpretation, represent my strong and tall qualities and the revelations of myself that I've realized about myself. Those are my mountain qualities. So take a few moments. What are your mountains? Where are they in the body? And then we also integrate and harvest from the rivers of Israel. And the rivers within us are our fluid, our ever-changing nature, the impermanence, also the part of us that's flowing and least resisting to things. So where are your rivers? What does it feel like? And what I love about this exercise is we can draw on these different parts of ourselves when we're feeling depleted or when we need a certain quality or a certain energy. If we know where the emotion or the energy lies in the body, we can beckon it and we can call upon it and draw from it. Like I was saying to Nilli earlier, maybe I did, I don't even remember if I texted her or not. I was feeling like I was spinning from Tishrei, like in Jerusalem, just spinning. But if I remember, my infinite vast self is in my low belly and I'm spinning, I can draw awareness from the low belly and that ocean breath and bring it up. So just being aware of those strong qualities in us and where they lie in the body, we can invite them into being when we're struggling or when we're just in the opposite headspace or the opposite landscape. We have it all in our bodies. It's all unified within us. And so I just want to bless us all that we can unify all these parts of ourselves. We can unify the etrog and the lulav and the hadassim and the aravos and all the body parts that they represent, the landscapes of Israel. And we should all be able to unify in ourselves so that we can bring it all together and uplift ourselves to praise Hashem and realize that all of those attributes are reaching upwards. When we can bring it together, we can really reach upwards and fulfill our higher mission, our higher soul mission that's calling us. So thank you, everyone. If anyone has any questions or thoughts, we'll give a few minutes for questions on what Nilli was teaching about or any of the content or any experience you had or just want to share a thought. You're welcome to.
I have a question. Was there also a connection between, like with the spine, also with Jacob's ladder going up to the stars?
Oh, yes. Jenna, can I take it?
Yes, go for it.
Okay, so one thing Jenna brings up in her video that you're going to get or you did get or whatever is if the Lexi, you're playing on my faves. If the sukkah is the womb, well, we have to imagine that the metaphor extends, right? The way that the baby is fed and nurtured in the womb is through the umbilical cord, right? And so the umbilical cord is likened to the schach, and it essentially is our connection point to Hashem. You could imagine a divine channel of energy coming from Shamayim all the way down into your sukkah. And it's giving us all of those nutrients of faith that Jenna keeps talking about. We get faith in the sukkah because the Zohar calls the schach the shade of faith. Now the faith is like, it's these like, the same way we receive physical sustenance through the umbilical cord, we receive our spiritual sustenance, our faith and this joy through the umbilical cord that is the schach. So as you would imagine, when Jacob lays on Har HaBayit, when he lays on the foundation stone and he has that dream of the ladder going upwards, what you don't even know you knew already, and Lexi, maybe this is what you remembered. Do you guys know that where the temple stood, which is now where like the golden dome and the mosque is, that underneath so this, if you didn't know what's underneath the golden dome, it's the foundation stone. It's that very same place where Abraham went to sacrifice Isaac, where Jacob had his dream, where Noah and Adam and Eve made sacrifices. This is like the place. And it's when the temple stood, it was where the Kodesh Kodashim, the Holy of Holies, actually, according to Wittia, the place from which the Big Bang explodes out of that very spot in the universe, which is amazing because essentially that's saying that not only are we made of stardust, but we're made of the Holy of Holies. So putting that aside, underneath that stone, actually, and you can look this up on Wikipedia, is what's called the womb room. There's a cave. There's an actual cave underneath Har HaBayit that the Arab, our holy Arab cousins have entitled the womb room. And so many people will comment that this channel where Jacob had his dream, this ladder is like an energy channel. And Reb Aryeh Kaplan has been known to call this the center of the world, the belly of the universe. And if it's the belly of the universe, then surely this is, let's say, the belly button. This is the place from which we receive our divine sustenance. And I personally believe that's why we're all fighting over this spot, because it really is a magical holy vortex from which spiritual nutrients go up, right? Like, let's say all of our prayers at the Kotel and across the world, we know that I'm praying in Los Angeles, my prayers are carried and they go into the mikvah of the Kinneret to get purified. They travel to the Kotel, and from the Kotel, from the place of the Kodesh Kodashim, from this foundation rock, from where Jacob had his dream, they go up. That's where all prayers go up. And that's where all energy, all of our spiritual nutrients flow down. So absolutely, not only are we in as if, the womb of Hashem, but if there's a womb, then there's an umbilical cord. And that umbilical cord is likened to Jacob's ladder, that place where the spiritual nutrients, like the angels, are coming down and our prayers are going up. So Lexi, did that answer?
Yes, so cool.
So cool. So freaking cool. So freaking cool. Torah is so cool. Oh my gosh. See, I told you guys I have good content. Did that make sense to everyone else? Because if it was your first time hearing it, it might not be so clear. Isn't that epic? So epic. Like, why are we fighting over that spot, right? Well, it's like, oh, hello, spiritual vortex galore. I want in. Fine.
Beautiful. Well, does anyone else have any questions or thoughts before we end?
I have no questions or anything, but I'm a midwife. I work all the time with babies and birthing mothers, and all these connections are so awesome. I don't know, I just love it. It's great.
That's so awesome to hear. I love when you can learn Torah and infuse your job with like a new appreciation, and you have like a boost of new inspiration and energy for it. So I bless you, birth many, many babies with health. And thank you everyone for joining. And thank you so much to Nilli. I'm like so in awe that she said yes to join us, because she's like my biggest inspirational teacher and friend. So thank you so much. This will be recorded and put on the website if anyone wants to look back or missed any part of it. You'll be able to view it there. But have a beautiful Sukkot full of joy and connection.
Can I add one more idea? I'm sorry, it just came to me strong.
Yes, go for it.
Because I wanted to give you a blessing right back, that you should have energy, that your energy should be like repleted. I don't know if that's a word. But something that happened to me really, really strong at the end of davening, and I just want to give this over because maybe someone else needs to hear it. At the end of Ne'ilah, I had the strongest davenings on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. I was crying, I was dancing, I was into it, I was intentional, like, go me, woo, right? And then at the end, right where we're like, it's like coming to a height in my head, I started to have feelings of rage, thoughts of jealousy, horrible thoughts about another woman, like, oh my God, it was like, I couldn't believe it. I was so pure. And all of a sudden, like, boom, I was filled with like guck. And I didn't know what to do. And I spoke to a friend about it. And she said, Nilli, it's like a detox. When you go into all that purity and you're cleansing, it's not like, oh, it feels amazing. Like first, before it feels amazing, it feels like crap. And all those toxins that I've ingested are coming out. So if anyone else is experiencing what I experienced at the end of services, or what Jenna was experiencing with the depletion, it's to be expected because we just did a spiritual detox. And so if all the crap came out, sorry, pardon my language, or if you're feeling like bad in these in-between days, it's because you did good. It's because it's a detox and the toxins and the gunk are coming out. And now as we enter into Sukkot, we get that elevated high, that energy that you receive after a detox. But again, just in case, like Jenna mentioned in the beginning, or as I felt at the end of services, if anyone is feeling crappy, like that's only an indication that you did the cleansing and now the toxins are coming out and releasing. And now we get to start like with that joy of Sukkot. So I just, in case anyone was feeling perhaps alone or concerned that they weren't on the spiritual high, it's probably because you've actually done a really good job. And so I just wanted to share that detox Torah.
Beautiful, thank you. So everyone should feel so much joy and presence in the sukkah. Have a beautiful Sukkot, and thank you everyone for joining.
Thanks, Jenna. It was amazing. Thanks, Nilli.
I love all the art behind you. I'm like, want to submerge into your Zoom screen.
Bye anytime.